Hi, I'm Bill Cherry, and I am a financial advisor from the Galveston, Houston area, but I'm now in Dallas. I want to talk to you today again about this business of the recession, inflation, all the other things that they're telling us that are in bad form of mind and causing us to have panics. This is all self-made. Raising the prime rate was not the smartest idea that ever came out of anybody's mouth. The reason that we have the problems that we have right now is because the fuel, gasoline, oil, that sort of thing, is difficult to get, and it costs money. It costs more money than it's ever cost in recent years. And that money continues to be added on to the price of things that we buy. And it also slows down the stuff that the farmers are able to produce, that the car dealers are able to produce, and so forth. So raising the interest rates makes it worse than it would be if they just dealt with the gasoline. Think through that. This time last year, people were spending a fortune to buy houses. In fact, apartments were out of sight in rent prices, but people had the money to buy them. Now, houses are on the market and they're not selling as fast as they were, and people are not moving around as they were, and all of that is a result of raising the interest rate. The real rule of economics, the simplistic one, is who has the money. If you have the money, that's good. If somebody else has all the money and you don't have any, that's bad. So keeping it even in some regard, where that each one of us can have the necessities of life and not worry about where the next dime is coming from, is the true way this economy is supposed to work. So let me show you what happened. Credit cards years ago were just held by, for an example, Neiman Marcus. They had their own credit cards. And while they were waiting for the money to come in for those, they borrowed from the bank to cover that money so they could spend it to buy inventory and pay payroll. And their card was only good at Neiman Marcus. And somebody got the bright idea that they should come up with a card that could be used in multiple stores. Oh, that was a good idea. And so one bank would hold all of that. But the problem was that once you got out of Texas, for an example, it wasn't good someplace else, because the banking laws that had to do with interest were different in each state. The federal government had what it called its usury law, which was at that time about 20%, and it probably still is something like that. So as long as you didn't, you being the credit card guy or the lender, didn't go up to 20%, the government didn't care, the federal government didn't care. The state, on the other hand, usually had something that was more in the area of 10%, 11%. Delaware has no usury laws. So one of the credit card companies decided they would go incorporate in Delaware. then they wouldn't have to worry with anybody getting in their way except the federal government. And the federal government was high enough anyways, it didn't really make any difference. It had to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that if the person was using that card in other places, they couldn't be having the rate go up and go down or whatever else each time they moved someplace, and going by that usury law, and that there was nothing wrong with them having just a general one. If they wanted to have it, was fine. Oh boy. Oh boy. You see what happened? So we got American Express cards who did what they did. We got Diners Card, Diners Club, I guess it was called. We got MasterCard, Visa, all of them. And all the banks were issuing those cards because they were using the place and the idea of Delaware. Because wherever that card was being used, it was impossible to keep up with what you should charge you as a maximum there and what you should charge in the next place. So the credit got really, really big. And now it's just everywhere. So here's the deal. When the Federal Reserve Bank raised its prime rate, the regular banks, the commercial banks, used that as their reason to raise the rate on the credit sales that you had already made. So let's assume that they were charging you last week the $150 that you borrowed from them when you bought something at the grocery store. They were charging you, let's say they were charging you 10%. Now, the same thing that you haven't paid off, you're paying it on installments, the rate has gone up. And the question was, did you have the opportunity to participate in that decision? Of course not. The Federal Reserve and Mr. Powell and all the rest of the economists seem to be in the pockets of financial institutions rather than yours and mine. That's your financial lesson for the day. Get the darn things paid off as quick as you can, okay? I'm Bill Cherry. I'm a financial advisor. You can reach me. My website, by the way, is wscherry, CHERRY.com. Real simple, wscherry.com. See you next time.